Good morning, witches! I am so happy to be talking to you guys today about tonight's full moon, the full wolf moon. But before I get too into this video, this is just a friendly reminder to hit subscribe. And if you want to be part of our full moon rituals, I hold them for my patrons only. Over on Patreon, it is for all tiers, whether it's $1 or the top one, whatever it is. I have a live private guided ritual for you guys, so as well as a worksheet, so it's guided by yours truly. It's really fun. I've led quite a few of these and they are super duper successful, and just really great for community building. So if that's something that interests you, check it out. Everything is linked down below. But without any further ado, I want to start talking about tonight's full moon. Now, I talked about all of the full moons last year during my Year of the Witch project, so if you haven't seen any of those yet, I will link the original one down below so you can see me a year ago, which I know is like really funny. Today I'm going to touch on some of the correspondences. I talked about it a lot more in those videos. I'm going to touch on them, and then we're going to talk more about the types of spell work that you can be doing tonight on this specific full wolf moon. So, yes, tonight's moon, the first moon of the year, the moon in January, is referred to as the full wolf moon. That does come from Native American traditions, so be sure that you take some time today to honor the land and take some time to remember whose land you're on. It's also called the ice moon and the snow moon, and it was really cool. We actually had some snow this morning as well as last night, so I got to collect some snow to use in my workings this evening to make some moon water. Yeah, let's talk about this specific moon in general. So the wolf moon is really associated with fresh beginnings, with inspiration, with showing gratitude for what you have. It's all about rest and inner reflection and self-care. So we're still kind of carrying on a lot of those themes that we see around either the new moon, but also kind of like that waning moon energy. Now, I, as a practitioner, really kind of take a look at the seasons and superimpose them, I guess, against like the lunar cycle. So that's just something that I do in my practice, but it kind of helps me put things into perspective. So we're still in that period of time where it is dark outside, it is cold outside, we should be sitting down and resting, right? So that is what this moon is calling us to do. It is all about inner reflection, and it's also, while it's about resting, it is also about inspiration, because spring, even though it may not seem like it, is actually really kind of around the corner. We are a little bit more than halfway through January, which like blows my mind, and the spring equinox is in March, so that's about 6 weeks away, which if you really think about, well, a little bit more than that, so it's about 2 months away, 8 weeks, but still, that's like no time at all. I think that's gonna go by like that. So, with that being said, it's time to start really putting some effort towards your goals this year. Now, I know we talked about goal setting and stuff during the new moon, which I totally agree with, but maybe take some time to kind of check in with yourself tonight. How are you working towards your goals? Is your goal resting? That's perfectly fine. It doesn't have to be this whole grandiose thing, especially not to like the egregious degree that a lot of our culture kind of dictates that we have to do. But take some time and really like solidify and sit with what you want for your life and what you want to accomplish this year. So it's a really great time to do that tonight. Okay, so to decorate your altar, I recommend using colors like black, white, dark green, and blue. So that's really kind of going with the lunar energy, black and white. Blue being like tranquility, calm. It's also kind of the color of like the snow, like in shadows and stuff, if you know what I mean. And then dark green for the evergreen trees, which remain lifelike, and it's kind of like an example or a reminder that life is not all things are dead right now, which is nice. Herbs that are associated with this moon include willow, snowdrop, thistle, evergreen, like I was saying, as well as marjoram or basil. So you can use any of those in your workings this evening. You don't have to, but just some suggestions. And then some crystals you might want to incorporate into your workings this evening include moonstone, snowflake obsidian, onyx, garnet, jet, kind of the similar stones that were associated with Yule. Okay, so those were just some basic correspondences. Again, if you want to learn a little bit more about the moon itself and the lore and stuff, check out my other video. But let's like move along into some activities or spell work that you guys could be doing on the full moon today. I'm trying to get this out as early as possible, so bear with me. I'm so sorry if this is coming out a little bit later for you, but no worries. You can also work with full moon energy tomorrow, so it is all good. The first activity that I would recommend to you is actually taking a chance to go outside, maybe go for a walk if you can. Now I know we had some inclement weather, but I'm still gonna try to make an effort to like take a little walk around the block. And when you are on this walk, just try to notice the silence and the stillness of the planet. Bonus points if you go out into nature, because I think it's really even more stark there. But I think that recognizing it and noticing it and indulging in that silence and taking some of that stillness and bringing it home with us, it kind of helps me validate my need for rest in a weird way. So I hope that kind of helps you, and it's a really great and I think spiritual exercise that one can do. If that is not accessible to you, which I 100% understand, the low energy alternative to that is just to take a day of solitude. It doesn't necessarily have to be today, maybe tomorrow or the next day, sometime this week. But take a day where you silence all of your notifications, unplug, and kind of just do something that you would enjoy, whether it be an activity. I know people have to work, I totally understand, but if you have like a day off or something, silence your notifications and do like 3 things that you wouldn't regularly do, but that make you really happy. So that's a really great way to just exist and like not have to worry about the hustle and bustle of like what's going on outside in the world. Just kind of contain yourself, do some self-care. The second activity that I wanted to recommend to you sounds a little bit silly, but it's actually really helpful, I think, to a lot of people. And that is to howl at the moon, which I mean, you don't have to do literally, no, but it is kind of fun. But just take a moment to release any tension, any anger, any stress, any sadness, any of those really heavy emotions that you might be feeling right now. And just release that out into the world. Just like let it out of your body. You do not need that anymore, right? I often feel like when I'm super anxious, and I say this to people, I'm like, I feel like I'm holding in a scream. Like I just really need to scream. And sometimes I would, like after work in my car, I would just be like, nah, you know, and that was helpful to me. And it felt really good just to kind of let that all out. If you can't go outside, that's a-okay. You can scream into a pillow or howl into a pillow, whatever you would like to do. Or, you know, you can laugh or cry, something. If you need to release something, you know, release it tonight under the light of the full moon. Outside if you can, if not, totally okay. If that seems like a lot, or you're just like unable to do that, if you are like either in the broom closet and that's just gonna like attract like weird attention and then you're not gonna be able to explain it, like, oh yeah, I'm just howling at the moon, it's no biggie. Just consider writing it down on a piece of paper or on your phone and either like ripping it up or deleting it. You can also, if you are interested in speaking it out of your body, consider whispering it, mouthing it, or just visualizing it releasing from yourself, from your space. And I do recommend cleansing afterwards if you can. Number 3 on our list is to connect with your support system. And I really feel like this is something that can be done by anybody. Now, I know it is Mercury retrograde, so like communication can be a little bit difficult, but that can be something as simple as like just leaving a nice comment on someone's Instagram or like calling your mom. Just connecting with your like pack, so to speak, your wolf pack. Your support system, they are there to help you. They are there to support you. Alternatively, if you are kind of feeling like that is too much, I 100% understand. Consider like doing some ancestor work, either sprucing up their altar, dusting it off, lighting a candle for somebody, or just like the, you know, universe at large, the spirits at large, if that is something you are called to do. And it's just like a nice way to kind of connect back with your support system. So highly recommend it. Next thing on my list is kind of a big one, so it's okay if you don't have the energy to do this right now, but that is to declutter your home and cleanse, which is one that I am doing today. For sure. I just like really need to like organize everything. Like it's starting to stress me out to a point that like it's unsustainable. So that is what I am doing today. As well as like editing and all of that other stuff. But anyways, it's time, and this is a good time to do it, but it's time to create space for new things and for the expansive energies of spring to have space to come into your home and like fuel you with your will and your intent, right? So by getting rid of stuff that you no longer need and starting to bring in those new energies, kind of setting yourself up for success during the summer when we are at our most expansive, when the earth is its most fertile, when we are kind of in this celebratory phase, it's time to start clearing out all the stuff that we kind of accrued during winter when we were making our houses cozy. What can we get rid of? What has kind of like lingered in the shadows that we need to get rid of tonight? Now, like I said, I understand that that is kind of a big ask to like clean and do all this stuff. I totally get it. So for a low energy version of this, just try picking like one task, whether that is changing your sheets, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, whatever it is, just do the one thing. And always please take your meds, drink water, take care of yourselves, my dears. But just like at least getting like all of the trash out of the room and lighting a candle or something that is just like one thing. Don't let it overwhelm you. Just do the thing. This is your sign to do the thing. And I know you can do it. I am rooting for you. You got this. Because I know it can be hard right now, just like people who are affected with seasonal depression, with regular depression, with the state of the world at large. So don't be too hard on yourself this evening, please. Yes. And then finally, one of the things that I think that that like everyone can kind of do is just to take some time to like look at all of the supplies that you have and take stock of what you need for your practice. If you need herbs, do you need them right now? And like, do you need to schedule a trip to go to the occult store? If you are just like running low on something, is it something that you can grow yourself? Like, what can you do to make something more personal to your practice? What tools are you saving up for? What workings do you need to begin to gather materials for that you would like to do this year or this month or this week? So just take some time to take stock if you're looking for new journals and just kind of like price everything out. If that is something you want to do, you don't have to go that far. If you're not, I like to have a spreadsheet where I can like save up like, oh yeah, I wanted to get this thing. Here's the $20 that anyways. But it makes things a little bit easier. It makes things a little bit less overwhelming, and it's something that I think helps me a lot in my personal practice. So there's that. And then I know I just said finally, but there is one last aspect of this moon that I do want to talk about, and that is the full moon being in Cancer. So one of the things that I'm doing this year is learning about astrology because it kind of blows my mind, and like I just have kind of shied away from it. So now I'm making a conscious effort to like be in touch with astrology and like or in contact with astrology and kind of like learn about it on a daily basis or in little chunks, so that way I can kind of pick some stuff up. So tonight's full moon is in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is the little crab guy. Cancer is a water sign. So water signs are very associated with emotion, about healing. It's all about kind of that fluidity of the element of water. So what you associate with the element of water are often associated with people who are water signs, right? And this moon specifically is really good for kind of working with the softer parts under our exterior shell, maybe doing, like so to speak, metaphorically, of course, maybe working with like our inner child, something like that, just like kind of our shadow self. So if you are looking to do shadow work, this might be a good time to do it. That being said as well, we have two planets that are currently in retrograde, which is something that I am still kind of learning about, but I think is really interesting. We have Mercury retrograde in Aquarius and Venus retrograde in Capricorn happening currently. So there's a lot happening. You might feel a lot, like I said, like a lot of heightened emotions. You might be feeling kind of upset. It's okay. We're gonna ride it out together. No worries. So with Venus retrograde, you might be noticing some conflict with yourself and your romantic partner, or your romantic life, if that is something that you are kind of in the dating world. And with Mercury retrograde, we see a lot of problems with communication. So Mercury is the planet that rules communication. Venus is the planet that rules love and matters of the heart. So consider taking some time to kind of evaluate where you might have had some communication issues, how you can be more distinct or succinct, I guess, in talking, and how that may or may not affect your romantic life. So that's just something to think about. Maybe you need to release some trauma regarding misunderstandings, falling outs, maybe something having to do with romance, or your romantic life. I urge you to consider what you are allowing to hold you back, what needs to stop in order for you to move forward, which is kind of the same question, but a little bit differently worded. And what boundaries are you setting up to create your shell around you, to create your armor around you? So yeah, that is kind of my little spiel on the full wolf moon. Thank you guys so much for listening. And I can't wait to hear about all of your workings that you're doing. So yeah, patrons, I'll see you guys today at 8. Bye.